Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to another video. It's not a thoughts of the day, it's not a weigh-in update, it's not even a what I eat in a day. No, something completely different. I watched in the early hours of this morning, Byron, the vegan loser, kind of put out a video stating his 5 things he hates about Slimming World, and it's kind of a video that comes from the vegan viewpoint of joining Slimming World, and Byron's got many valid kind of opinions, reasons, and I totally agree with the majority of it. Yes, Slimming World could be a lot better when it comes to reaching out to younger people, especially when they're putting over, recipes, inspirational things, articles in magazines tailored towards younger people and vegans or pescatarians. I never see many pescatarian recipes or things like that. And I was pescatarian for a little bit, and yeah, I would struggle all the time to find decent recipes that make me want to follow a plan or a weight loss plan or a journey or whatever it may be. So if you haven't checked that one out, I really do think you should go over and see Byron the Vegan Loser. I'll put it in the little description box below. So I thought, well, that's given me a little bit of ammunition and maybe a little bit of inspiration to create my own 5 things that I hate about Slimming World. Now, I'm not going to go into the format of things, the new format that's happened, because let's face it, everyone is probably sick and tired of hearing me going on about that. I really want to come at it from a new member viewpoint, and especially a male doing Slimming World, because let's face it, when it comes to the ratio of men and women, there is a very big imbalance within Slimming World. Men are increasing, but nowhere near what it could be or should be, even at that point. So I want to kind of go in with my 5 little things, and I hope you kind of entertain me in them. And if you agree or disagree with me throughout, put it in the comments. I don't mind a little bit of criticism. I don't mind people's opinions or anything like that whatsoever. So let's go in with the first thing I hate about Slimming World, and that is the level of information provided for new Slimming World members. Now, I'm not talking about the Food Optimizing Bible. I'm not even talking about the Body Magic leaflet. I'm talking about information that is readily available for those people like me that are much larger than the average person, that you cannot find anywhere on Slimming World. Now, what am I talking about? So I've mentioned in the past that I didn't join Slimming World immediately at my heaviest weight when I started losing weight, and the reason for that was I could not find any information whatsoever on what the limit of the scale went up to. And I've mentioned it before, the embarrassment of walking in to a Slimming World group or any kind of group. I came in at 32 stone 11, and I was clearly, very much clearly, the biggest person in that room. Not many people get to above that. Now, when I started losing weight, I was just under 40 stone. So the anxiety and everything else of walking in that room is enough. But when you can't find what limit the scale goes up to, the extra thoughts, the extra doubts and everything else puts you off walking through the door, because nowhere on the Slimming World app, on the Slimming World website, in any of the Slimming World magazines, marketing whatsoever, tells you their scales go up to around 42 stone. Now, 42 stone is a figure that my consultant said was from a few years ago. She doesn't know if that's changed or anything like that, but it is not available for new members. So that's just one little area of information. The other part of the information side that I think Slimming World really lacks on, let's face it, is the whole thing around free food, speed food, healthy extras, and fitting them all in together. And I'll come on to the free food bit shortly. But for new members, you get given the food optimizing thing, you're sat down for 15 minutes with a consultant, you get weighed in, you get sent home, and then you're kind of left to your own devices with not much clue really of what the whole plan is about. So for me, if I was kind of in charge of Slimming World, within the welcome pack would be a full thing of what meals you could easily do. So, consultants can make it to and tailor it to their local supermarket. If you've only got a Waitrose, or if you've got only an Aldi or an Asda, or whatever it may be, they can say, you can get these ingredients, this is a shopping list, this is the menu you can do, and kind of learn from there. It's kind of when they say, well, mackerel is a free food. Yes, but peppered mackerel or some smoked mackerels are sinned. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where the information, when you're joining, you kind of want it all to absorb. So you want to know straight away, without trying to scan everything or being in a panic or looking like a bit of a, silly womble while you're walking around a supermarket trying to scan things and people staring at you all the time. You actually get used to that after a while. But yeah, it's kind of that information that should be easy to put together to allow new members or anyone wanting to join, kind of them little facts right at the fingertips within that welcome pack. So yeah, any more level of information that you think's missing, do put it in the comments. I've just put those two out in the just for that one topic item. So the second thing I hate about Slimming World, unlimited, hold on, open bracket, unlimited, close bracket, doing that with my fingers for the people that can't see or have visual impairment. Unlimited free food. Where do we begin? Where do we begin on the term unlimited free food? So to me, unlimited free food means that if I want 2 meals a day that contains potatoes or pasta or rice, then you can kind of go for 2 meals a day, unlimited kind of rice, potatoes, that type of thing. So if I want to jack a potato for lunch, I can have jack a potato, beans, cheese, salad. Then later on in the evening, I might want bangers and mash with a bit of onion gravy or whatever. So to me, 2 potatoes, that's kind of unlimited. I'm not having to think too much about carbs. Or, as I have today, I've had a very small baked potato with an Indian rice, meatball and rice pot. So rice, potato, that type of thing, carb on carb. That's my understanding of unlimited free food. But I hear and watch so many videos on all the different platforms where people talk about, I can have unlimited amounts of pasta, unlimited amounts of potatoes, and you can't. You can't have unlimited amounts because everything is within reason, basically. You know, the whole thing of having a third plate speed and protein and things is it kind of moves your portion sizes down the more you lose weight. But it doesn't always happen like that because people just think, well, I can have unlimited pasta. Well, you can't. It's impossible. If you try and have 500 gram of pasta and then you've got to top that up with a big third of that portion again with speed food and then with protein, the high chances of you eating that big of a portion is kind of nigh and impossible. Unless if you extremely want to pig out massively on one meal a day, then kind of go for it, but that's not the Slim and World plan. And people forget that the plan has to be followed. You work the plan, it works for you. You don't work the plan, you want to cheat at things or twist things or tweak things, then it's not going to have that full optimization for your weight loss journey. So the term unlimited, I think, needs to be addressed, and it kind of has to be corrected because, and let's face it, Slim and World gets so much slack of all the haters across all the platforms because it's got unlimited free food. You know, unlimited to me means if I want 2 portions of it in a day, or even 3 portions of it in a day, as long as it's calculated with a third of speed, third of protein, or whatever, or like I do, half. I always have half speed. Then that to me is fair game, and part of the whole plan. It's just not very, very clear enough. So that brings me very swiftly onto the third thing I heard about Slim and World, and that is sins. Not the term of sins. I don't mind that 4-letter word. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. The amount of sins for things may need looking at, let's face it. Some of the brand choices, you know, you kind of not as healthy and that, but I'm not here to discuss the whole inner workings of how Slim and World work out their sins. For me, I want to highlight, again, coming from that new member's point of view, even though I'm kind of getting on to be an old member, the number of sins available to use on a day-to-day basis is wrong, in my opinion. As someone who is larger than large, to be told I have 35 sins in a day and I can use 35 sins and be totally on plan and get that weight loss and everything else, no, absolutely stop it, because it's just not right. To me, that means if I was that way inclined, I could sit right here now in front of you lot, eat 11 hi-fi bars and have 2 sins over for the rest of the day. 11 hi-fi bars and still have 2 sins left over, bit of ketchup on my breakfast, maybe, I don't know, 2 mug shots. Because all they say is, this is the sins available to you. Now, quite clearly, I don't sit here every day and eat 11 hi-fi bars. I have restricted my sins. I never use 35 sins a day. The reason for that is This is a lifestyle thing for me. Once I get down to target weight, once I go through this journey, I don't want to kind of start, stop, because I'm having to change the number of sins throughout each day that I can have. You know, if you say up to 15 sins a day, that should be it. 15 sins max for everyone. How you spend the 15 sins, that's entirely up to you. But you do not need to give someone like me 35 sins a day. Because what you're teaching us, you know, this is kind of the educational element of Slimming World. You're saying to us, we can join a plan, we can eat loads of stuff that, let's face it, we shouldn't really be eating. You know, I think it's 3 Mars bars. I can have 3 Mars bars in a day and come back with 5 sins left over. So, you know what, let's call it 3 Mars bars, 2 high-fi bars for my healthy extra B, still leaves me with 5 sins. Oh, you know what, I think I'll have half a pack of Pringles. That, to me, is kind of unacceptable on any journey. And I know I might get some hate and say, well, people love to use all their sins. It gets to a point in my mind when I watch people, and I have seen it on the likes of TikTok and Instagram, people are cutting a chocolate digestive in half to take it up to that level. It's not a target. Your sins is not a target to go for every single day. But a lot of people use the plan to do just that. And if I did that, I mean, even the 3 meals a day that I'm eating, that's food optimized without sins, I could never use 35 sins up. There's no way. For one, I wouldn't be able to eat that much. But I'm not a big eater anyway. Most of my weight gain and all that wasn't food orientated. It was illness and then carbonated drinks and energy drinks, sugary drinks, that type of thing. So to me, you know, I look at people like my 600-pound life, and they're having 3 KFC buckets followed by Domino's pizza and 3 Big Macs. You're having a laugh. Half a Big Mac and some fries would normally be enough for me in any one meal. And I have started to eat more with Slimming World. However, it's food optimized. A lot of it is low sin. A lot of it's vegetables. There's a lot of fruit. There's a lot of low fat options. And I just manage, on average, around 1,300 calories a day. I really struggle to go beyond that. Now, just imagine what 11 hi-fi bars are going to do, plus an extra 2 if I want them for my healthy extra B as well. You know, it's kind of that whole mechanism of the term sins and the number of sins available to people is kind of not the way to educate people to live this whole healthy lifestyle. Especially, again, when you're a new member. For those that have been doing it for many years, you kind of get used to the whole thing of what you want. Kind of the same with free food. The amount of people that say, pasta really bloats me out, too many carbs do this, that is part of that learning journey that you go through, because Slimming World, at the end of the day, is a tool. Let's face it, it's a tool to help you lose weight, stay in a maintenance, stay everything else, and build up your own profile and your own choices of how to live a healthier life. So yeah, that's, I know it's a lot, but that was my third thing I hate about Slimming World. I'm just going to have a little sip of water. So, my fourth thing that I hate about Slimming World is the term consultant. Now, this is nothing to do with my consultant or your consultant or anyone else's consultant. It's the term. It's the similar thing as expert. Open bracket, close bracket. Expert, consultant, that type of thing. It doesn't belong within Slimming World, within the groups. You could have many other things on there. You could have maybe group leader, group champion. I don't know. What do you think? But for me, the term consultant, other than in group, I don't see what they're actually consulting on. Does anybody else? Because I know it's probably kind of nothing to do with my consultant, but the fact that she's got so many members that kind of a message during the week just never happens. It's kind of when I first joined, the second week after I joined, it was make sure you have your A choices. The next message I got was, can you tell me what surgery or weight loss injections you're taking for your weight loss? And I said, well, I haven't had any surgery and I'm not taking weight loss injections. Oh, you've done that yourself then? And I thought, well, you'd know that if you heard me speak in group. But it's kind of that thing that, what are they really consulting on? Because let's face it, they don't have time in group to consult with people. You'll never see a consultant sat there, and if people want a one-to-one thing, oh no, you can't do that, I haven't got time for that. I need to get people paying in, weighed up, and see any new people. Yeah, it's kind of that little thing. I don't know if every group's the same, or if it's the bigger groups where the consultants change or struggle to do that. But for me, the term just does not kind of go together. It's not a consultant, it's not an expert. I've lost 11 stone. That's probably more than about 80% of consultants on Slimming World, let's face it. It's one of those things, who is a consultant? To me, Jane Day could be a consultant. Quite easy. Lisa and Rufus, Beyond Health Authentic, quite easy. Shell, Bean Feast, 57, quite easy. We could all be consultants, but does that mean that we're experts in it? Does that mean, for me, if I was a consultant, let's face it, if I was a consultant, I would have extra resources as part of the Slimming World plan for people to understand, to gain further knowledge, to make it where it's kind of a place where people can learn more about the foods that they're eating, around the reason why sins are sins. I mean, come on, let's face it, a sin is something that the app tells us or the book tells us. It's something Slimming World tells us. Sins, even if you pair a couple of things up together, let's face it, some of it is brand wise. You put two together, you get two different sin values for almost the exact same thing. And that's kind of like the expert type of thing within it. But actually you should take it and say, well, the reason why this one has less sugar, less salt, but this one has a little bit of extra tomato, this has more speed in it, this has, it's kind of that type of thing. So that is kind of consulting people further to make sure the knowledge and education side of the plan is kind of maintained, that people understand what it actually is. Why don't we count calories on Slimming World? Well, because the science behind it tells us that we don't need to. Well, okay then, spell out the science behind it. Let people know that what they're being told, that when they maintain and they want to look at further things and progress, whatever they're doing, they have an understanding and resources is there to say, if you want to look, go and have a look. That to me is more than what consultants are currently doing. But I'm going to leave that one there because I want to move on to number 5. Number 5, the 5th thing I hate about Slimming World. Now, this one could be deemed a bit more controversial, and that is the orientation of consultant with members. In other words, Slimming World, as we know, has kind of always been tailored to the females, the ladies of the world, and it's always kind of been designed like that. With maybe over the last 5 to 8 years, there's been a little bit more of a male presence within magazines and the feature online thing. But I've had experiences with consultants in the past on Slimming World that have always took the stance of, well, you're a bloke, you'll lose weight, whatever, doesn't matter. And that kind of goes right the way through, because it's not the only consultant that I've seen do it. I've called into other groups when I've been away working or on weekends or whatever, and I've called into other groups and stayed to groups, and there's always this little underlying thing where, because you're a man, you're not an equal. You're not an equal within Slimming World. Now, some people might say, well, that's stupid, because we're all individual members, we all do our own journeys, and this, that, and the other, and you are true. But, well, you are right, because consultants aren't told the difference really between a female weight loss progress, kind of the female's, plan as it was, and the men's plan. Kind of just take back, for instance, the thing on sins. The first thing it says, oh, well, you can have up to 35 sins. It's kind of knowing what the difference is between male and female and how each plan goes for each individual, kind of on the gender basis and whatever. I'm not going into all the extra stuff, not to be rude or anything. I haven't got all day, it's almost a 30-minute video as it is. But understanding the needs between male and female within the group and within the plan and how it should work, and then the mindset of consultants that just think you're a bloke, it doesn't matter, you're going to lose weight anyway. It's kind of a thing to really put people off. And I've had it in the past, I had it in the new year. My regular consultant went away, we had a standing consultant, and she totally blanked me for a number of weeks. And when I did reach out to say something, she said, oh, well, it's easier for you. Sorry? How is it easier for me when I'm probably sat in that group eating the most fruit, the most veg, limiting the amount of free food and everything else that I have, limiting all the sins, for then someone to turn around and say, well, it's easier for you. I'm sorry, no, it's not. I've probably got to put in 3, 4, 5 times the amount of effort than other people. But they don't class that as anything else because so far a lot of groups have always been female only. I'm the only male in my group. I'm the only one that stays to group. There's only 3 that come in and get weighed. And that's it. Do you blame the consultants? Do you blame Slimming World? I don't know. Or am I just being a kind of uptight, wincy little snowflake that people, might not agree with or disagree with? I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of my 5 things that I hate about Slimming World. I'm sure a few more people will do these as well. But yeah, hopefully I'll get around to doing a 5 things that I love about Slimming World. Because even though I've done this one kind of in response because Byron, thank you Byron, yeah, it'll also be nice to do 5 things I love about Slimming World as well. So probably next week I'll do that one. But yeah, this is kind of a bonus video today. This will be the 3rd video out today. Well, the 2nd video out of 3 today because I've already put one up this morning. So yeah, hopefully you don't get sick of looking at this mush for one day. And yeah, thank you so much for your support. Do leave in the comment section below your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any words of advice, or is it a shut up, you haven't got a clue type of thing? I'm always happy to know and learn more. So that's probably now the whole end of my break has now been took up with this one video. So thank you all very much, and I will catch you all later on this evening in a What I Eat in a Day video. Catch you all then. Adios.